Do you want a weekly dose of energy and marketing tips to grow your business? Then you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Lisa Pezik Show, a podcast that empowers entrepreneurs to heal and be heard, the permission to pivot, and the tools to design a life you love.
Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Lisa Pezik Show. So excited today to be talking about the power of referrals, the power of who you know, the power of getting out there and doing it the right way. Now, I know I try to shy away from the right way and the wrong way and that kind of language, but I know you come here because you want to do something different after you've heard this podcast. You want to really think about and consider, like, is there a better way? Because what everyone else is telling me doesn't feel right to me. So we're going to talk about how to make your own way, to grow your business, get out of that six-figure hamster wheel. And I got a friend here today with me, a newfound friend. So welcome, Matt, to the podcast.
What's up, people? I'm happy to be here, Lisa. Thanks so much for having me. I am so honored.
Oh my goodness. And Matt and I were getting to know each other before I, had him on, and from Hershey, PA, my old stomping grounds, we were catching up about where we grew up. And it's crazy how, again, with networking, it's not crazy, but it is crazy. We're like that 6 degree of separation. We're all connected. We're all in this place called life together, and let's reach our goals and do it the right way. So, where does the dreaded networking. Sometimes when people hear networking, they go, oh, where does that come from? It's because you're being stabbed with business cards. It's like, come with your 30-second elevator pitch. And man, I don't want to hear your elevator pitch. I just instantly turn my ears down and turn off because I want to get to know you as a human being. I really want to make a relationship with you. And Matt, I know that's something that is the pillar. We have 4 pillars, but the pillar of what you do. So let me tell you about Matt before I toss it over to him and let him dive in. So in 2002, Matt started a digital marketing agency, inConcert Web Solutions, which he sold, which he told me, from someone he met while he was getting out there and connecting in May of 2018, so he could focus on helping service-based businesses get more word of mouth referrals. His book, More Word of Mouth Referrals, Lifelong Customers and Raving Fans, focuses on building stronger relationships and how we can use that to connect with others. You're a professional member of the National Speakers Association, a 40 under 40 recipient. Love that. I'm turning 40 this year. And Chamber Small Business Owner of the Year. What? Awesome. Okay. So how did this all come about? I mean, you had a digital marketing agency. That's enough to, many people would stay just running that agency, doing good work, putting out goodness into the world. You sold it, which I know is in the back of a lot of my listeners' mind. Like, how do I even do that? How do I set my business up to do that? But how did you get to where you are now with making the shift from selling that business to the work that you do now?
Yeah. So, shifting is great. It's a great question because I think as we grow as small business owners, we start to wonder what happened to what we wanted. Like I feel like we all left the corporate world, started our own company because we wanted 3 things: more money, more time, and more freedom.
Yep.
And yet in the first 5 years, we don't get any of those things. And I think it's a struggle, right? As a small business owner, we are running that, as you call it, in all your episodes, the 6-figure rat race, right? And so it's one of those things where it just gets frustrating. You start to pound your head against the wall, figuratively. And the business owns you. You don't own the business anymore. And that's not what we wanted. And I started looking at the agency that I had, and it provided me an amazing life, an amazing living, but there was something missing. And for me, I felt like my impact was missing. I didn't figure out how to really get out there and speak about what I wanted to speak about until I sold the agency. And pretty much right before that, I kind of started ramping up 2 years before that, to really do more speaking on what I thought was the motivational side, but it's really content side, sort of motivating people to take action, but not as a motivational speaker, right? I'm much more of a content speaker, so to speak. But I just decided that I didn't want to go to the office every day. And my agency was a brick and mortar agency. We had staff, we had an office, we had leased space, we had desks and computers and electric bills and a lot of things. And we had to make a certain amount of money every month just to be able to pay all the salaries and pay all the bills. And I just didn't want that stress anymore. And so I wanted out. And to be very clear, when I started the business early on, I learned rather quickly not to work in the business, but on the business by reading the E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And I immediately transitioned into that mode and had every intention of selling the agency at some point. I just didn't know when. So I always made moves that made sense for the value of the business and didn't always make sense for me necessarily. It was a long-term play. So I might invest in software or invest in people that might cost me more money, but ultimately make the agency more marketable at the end of the day. And as it turns out, I didn't even need to go very far to sell it. I sold it to one of my employees who I met in a networking group many years earlier. So
I love that you almost that begin with the end in mind, and you created the best possible solution for yourself to stay in it and do it when it worked for you. But also you said, I just made the decision, right, to give yourself that option to even be able to have an out, which I think, as you said, that we want more time, we want more freedom. But if we never set our business up that way, people go, how can
So Lisa, that's what my whole new book is about. Is it called The High Five Effect? How to do business with people who bring you joy. And I just got to this point where I was just like, this isn't joyous. And so I unpacked the problems in that during the pandemic, and I wrote a whole new book that really helps people, get to their target market, which I think many of your listeners already have. But there's much more to that. There's turning away bad clients when you know that they're bad clients, when you see the red flags, yet you still take them on. There's not charging enough, right? And that's why we start a business to earn more money, but yet we don't earn more money because we allow people to steal our time, to steal our resources, and frankly, to steal our money. And so I live my life by the definition of freedom, doing what I want, when I want, where I want, and how I want. Now, I define freedom something very, very differently maybe than other people. I define it as not working every day. That's not freedom. To me, freedom is choice. As a business owner, you must be able to have the right to choose what to do when you want to do it. It's why you got into this.
For sure. And
it's a brutal cyclical effect. You call it the rat race. I mean, we have analogies around this. We're on the hamster wheel, all of this type of stuff. We're doing circles in the parking lot. It's all the same analogies. And you can get out of that if you implement certain basic procedures that seem very basic, but require a definitive choice on your part as a business owner.
So that's where it starts. That's the stuff that I think isn't sexy, that we don't want to do. We don't want to do those things a lot of times. So you knew that from the beginning. You had to learn the hard way where the gaps were. Like, did you see your gaps and fill them from the beginning? Or did you go, ooh, I took on that client and that didn't make me feel so good?
No, Lisa, I didn't have a damn idea of what I was doing. I had no clue.
As all of us probably all started that way.
But here's the funny thing. I interviewed 50 small business owners and they said the same friggin' thing. They don't know what they're doing either. Because you know what they don't teach in college? Gut trusting 101.
Yes. Yes.
And so there's a whole chapter in the book that digs into that. There's a quote by Eric Slavatsky in the book. He's a small business owner, a business coach. And he, I asked this question about, how do you sort of choose when you see red flags and what he says, when your heart and your mind are in a tug of war, let your gut settle it. There's just something about listening to our gut. And then I interviewed a bunch of mental health experts and body experts and physicality experts about that whole, like, the gut and intuition and instinct thing. And there's a whole bunch of information in the book about that. And I'm not teeing that up. Like, I would tell you if I remembered, but this is like clinical stuff, so I don't want to misquote them, right? But there's a bunch of stuff in there about that. And the reality is I think that we have to build that gut muscle up. So we do end up having to take these bad clients early on. But the way to get out of that cyclical effect and start moving into people that bring you joy is to actually trust it more, right? And then once you do that, then you really start getting into the relationship building stuff that I talked about in my first book, which is all about the referrals and the connections and all that type of stuff. Because if your gut is what you use to trust things, right? And the only way you get referrals is by building trust with other people.
Now, what about the people, though, that say, but I need to take this client because I have this overhead. I've got to pay the da-da-da-da-da-da. What do we tell them?
Yeah, absolutely. In the book, I basically went through a new version of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it's called the client acquisition hierarchy of needs. And
that's what I was.
Yeah. And so there are 5 stages to this hierarchy. The first one, survival, then security, then discovery, respect, and joy. And survival is that mode that we're in, like caveman mode. Like, we have to eat and we have to bring in money to because we have responsibilities, right? Which is why, by the way, that you really don't need, you're almost always out of this if you have a side hustle that you grow to the point of being your full-time gig, right? You skip the survival mode because you have a full-time gig that's paying for those bills at the same time.
Right.
The next stage is security mode, and you exit security mode and get into discovery mode when you generate a predictable amount of revenue every month.
Yep.
So yes, I understand people will take on the client for the money. I get it. I don't expect you to not take on the client for the money. I just expect you to know that you took it on for the money so you can fire that client immediately when you have the capacity to do so.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Finding the purpose in it and learning from it so it doesn't repeat. Again, I remember when I was in Brendan Burchard's mastermind, he said, if you don't have a business that's not generating recurrent revenue, you don't actually have a business.
Yeah, recurring revenue. I mean, my agency was 70% recurring. And that was a definitive choice in 2010. When the economy crashed in 2008, we made it through 2008, 2009. We had to do cutbacks. We had to change all kinds of things. We rebranded in 2010 as inConcert Web Solutions. And when we did that, we made a very clear distinction, 2 of them. The first one, we were only going to be a WordPress house. That's all we decided to do at that point. Yep. And the second one we made was we were going to focus on recurring revenue. So if you weren't hosting with us, we would not do your website. Just that simple.
Choice. It goes back to what you said in the beginning. Yeah.
And so when we talk about also taking on the client because we need the money, again, choice. That's the reason, and you're making the choice. What I don't want business owners to do is just take on the client because in your head, you have to make sales. Well, why do you have to make sales? And what are you talking about? What's the conversation you're having in your head about this relationship with this client and the work you're about to be doing for them? Because this could go really, really bad. Usually low paying clients turn out to be difficult in other areas.
Yeah, and it's a bigger issue than just I'm taking, like, in our brain, I think that they fool themselves to think, well, I'm taking on this client because I need the money. That's the surface level issue. What you're doing is showing and unpacking all the mindset, the way you've set up your business, the way you take transactions, the way you market and talk about yourself. There's so much to unpack underneath that. Who you're talking to, who you are making strategic referrals with and connections with. Yeah, it's such a bigger, like, deeper issue underneath. Just, you think it's just, I got to pay my bills, so I got to take that client. But really, that's almost like the red flag that other things are busted in what you're doing, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I brought on a client in 2020, and within the first week had her fire a client because we spent every call talking about that client. And I just finally said, you need to fire this client. And the response I got, whoa, but I need the revenue. I said, you need to fire him and fire him today. And the revenue will replace itself because you will have more time not occupying your head, right?
Yeah.
Her revenue doubled in 6 months and has since tripled from the time she signed up with me because she's focusing on the right things instead of the wrong things.
Yeah. And that's that gut and that trust. We hear that a lot too when people, will say, well, you got to raise your prices. That's like another thing too. We tell people and they go, well, nobody will come if I raise my prices. That's not true. You've got to trust that when you fire that client, the right client is going to come to you. You got to trust that when you raise your prices, the right quality of client will come to you. And that's that.
I had a friend double his price from $300 an hour to $600 an hour, and he was more busy after he raised his price than he was prior to.
Yeah, you get a different commitment from people when they've got to put that skin in the game. And you're right. I mean, we've all had that client. Well, I know we've had them. Maybe I don't know if you have, but Eric and I know we've had that too, where we're like, people say charge, pain in the ass tax. And I'm like, there's no amount of money that you can charge. I love you dearly, but it's like, there's no amount of money that you can charge when it takes your headspace, your energy. My husband is like a calm, cool, collected kind of guy. And we had one client where he literally was like shaking after the call. And I'm like, okay, A, go take a walk and clear your head. But B, I'm like, we are figuring out how to get out of this ASAP. Like, we are going to deliver what we got to deliver, and we're done. Like, we're out because
because if it causes you stress, it's even worse.
Right. It's not worth it. Again, back to why we're business owners. We want freedom. We want flexibility. We want our health. We want to travel. We want to enjoy the goodness of life. And if you're stressed out and overworked and underpaid and all of that, that's like
it's so interesting that you mentioned this. I think that exact topic of firing clients and whatnot came up on the group coaching call that I do with people. It's a once a month thing, and it's more of a free-for-all conversation. And so this idea came up about, hey, how do I manage this client? Is it going to hurt my referrals, right? Because it's a referral group coaching call. And so all the conversations around referrals, is it going to hurt my trust and all, am I going to, and literally it's so interesting because everybody's chiming in on the same topic, we're all pulling the rope in the same way, right? And so I'm looking at this sort of 50,000 foot overview, watching the group, and I'm just thinking, there's probably literally everybody in the group would ask that same question and probably give all the same answers. You know what I mean? But when we're in the spot, it feels different because it's personal. And that's what we have to find a way to remove from that. That it really isn't that personal. It's business. And business is personal when it comes to relationships. But when the relationships aren't serving you, when they're hurting you, when they're hurting your soul, that is not the high five effect of how to do business with people who bring you joy, right? I have an ideal client matrix in the book where I talk about this ideal client is in a zone whereby the people are relationship driven people and they bring you joy. That's how you get to your ideal client from that perspective, and that produces more referrals. I mean, clients don't refer a ton, right? That's what I tell people all the time is that clients refer 1 to 3 people over a lifetime. And referral sources, centers of influence, partners refer 1 to 3 people a year.
Wow.
Big difference, because what most people do is focus on the client.
Yeah.
Because they referred the pizza joint down the street. But how many of you listening or watching on YouTube are actually a pizza joint? You're not. This is not you. We're not Amazon. We're not Target. We're not Walmart. We're not consumer-based driven companies. We're service-based driven service providers.
Yep.
And the people that refer us are also other service providers in the same zone, and they're speaking to the same decision maker. And so you need to focus your referral efforts on those people and not your clients.
100%. And you have to be so clear, I find. Do you help people with the clarity of even knowing who, like, I can't believe how many times I'll say to people, who can I send your way? Someone refers somebody.
Anyone?
Right. Anybody.
They start with anyone.
That's not helpful.
It's the same dude handing you the business card at the networking event. I call him a Pez dispenser. He's just regurgitating business cards on me.
Yeah.
It's gross.
So how do we help people? Well, so now they know they've got to be more specific. Yeah. But how do we help people find that? If they're the one that
find the center of influence, I'll tell them right now. Just folks, I'm about to tell you how to do this. So pull out a piece of paper and a pen, and if you're driving, pull over or hit rewind when you pull over. Here's the deal. It's way more simple than you can possibly imagine. It just takes a little bit of thought. You're going to write down 10 clients on the left-hand side of a piece of paper. And then on the right-hand side, you're going to write down who referred that client. And if a client referred the client, you're going to throw that line out. And you're going to keep doing this until you have 10 clients who were referred by 10 non-clients. Now you have a list on the right. I don't care about the list on the left. They're already clients. I want you to focus on the list on the right. What is in common? Do they all live in the same town? Did you go to high school or college with all these people and you hang out in the alumni group? Are they part of your BNI, AM Spirit, LaTip, NGU, USA 500 networking groups? Are they part of an independent networking group that you see once a month, twice a month, once a week? Do you run into all these people at the same coffee shop? Maybe they're at the dance studio when you take your kids there, or the baseball field or the football field or the soccer field. What is the commonality? What's their gender? What's their age range? Where do they hang out? What is so unique about all these people? Start looking at the common denominator. That common denominator is where you want to focus on for your center of influence. And you might find it's a CPA, older person that you ran into at the Knights of Columbus because you drink there and you're a member or something. Or maybe it's because you go to Rotary every week and those people happen to refer you, even though that's not what that group is for.
God, I love when like the goodness comes out. Yes, I know my listeners are going to be eating that up because their biggest thing is they want to go do. That's why they come. Listener, that's why you're here, because you want to know what to do. You're in that pain and you want to make it better. And I love that because it actually requires you to make real relationships with people. That's what you're going to see, right, on that list.
Yep.
Are the people that you've spent the time actually developing a real conversation and a real relationship with, which the art of that can be lost nowadays because everything is,
on the phone.
It's like,
yep.
When is the last time you actually spoke to that mom or that person or that, bystander or in that networking group? You actually put yourself out there and started a conversation and a relationship, not just elevator pitching and stabbing like we talked about. And I know for us, we run ads, we run paid ads, and people say, well, do I need, because I'm a business, do I have to run Facebook ads, Instagram ads? No, if your business is kicking butt through referrals, that's a personal decision, but it's not a yes. I think that messaging gets lost too.
Let me add to that. Referrals are a big piece of it, but the work you do today pays off in 6 months. So referrals are different than marketing. And look, folks, the key to referrals, I'm going to just throw it right out there. You can buy my book and it'll support it. It's all good. But the bottom line is you got to care about people. Everybody says that people do business with who they know, like, and trust. I don't believe that's true. I believe people do business with who they know, like, trust, and care about. It's the caring component that drives it deep into the soul. I care about your success as a business owner, right? Because I can like you, but not care about your success, right? And you can like me, but not care about my success. It's the small trust deposits that happen over a long period of time that build so much trust that it produces referrals, whether or not they've gotten a referral from you. And you can generate referrals by just handwriting cards to people consistently every single month, because now you're top of mind. And the purpose of marketing is to have TOMA, top of mind awareness. Now, I don't have a problem with marketing. I do marketing and I'm the referral guy, right? So what I have a problem with is confusing the two. There's marketing and there's caring. Caring is not a group mentality, groupthink mentality. It's not a batch thing that you do. It's a one-off transaction, a one-off note, a one-off text, a one-off Facebook message, LinkedIn message, email. It's unique. Email marketing is a different story. I do email marketing every single week. I send out an instructional video that talks about tips on how to get referrals. They run 3 to 5 minutes. Super simple. People love them. They like how succinct they are. They like how short they are. They like that there's no fluff and no sales pitch. And occasionally I'll throw an email in there that, like, hey, by the way, my book's on Amazon, type of thing, right?
That is marketing done right there. That
and it's marketing. It's not caring. It's not referral partner building. That's not what that is, right? Here's where you take it to the next level. If you have email marketing, you can produce the stat report. You can see who clicked on your thing. You can also see who replied to your email box from the email. I got one today that said, hey, I'm not available for this thing that you're doing, but I'd love to support you in your book launch. Okay, great. I mean, now the batch email went to a one-off conversation. And someone's willing to help me, even if they don't buy the book, they might post something about, hey, that's super cool. That's building trust value with me. Then when they do a book launch, who do you think is going to step up to help them? Right? So this is a big thing. This is the thing I tell people all the time. Like, it drives me crazy. The email signature that says, the best compliment you can give me is a referral to your friends and family. Yeah, it's not. That's not the best compliment you can give me. There are many other ones in the world. I'm super sexy is one of them, right? There's a lot of ways I can get better compliments than a referral. What that is someone begging for referrals. Stop begging referrals. Stop asking for referrals, and instead start asking for introductions to the centers of influence that are going to produce more referrals for you. Boom, mic drop.
And I love that. It's called give and take for a reason. What comes first? Like, it's not take and then maybe give, right? I know.
So true. I had somebody in the group coaching was like, hey, so I did a one-to-one. We had a great Zoom call. And I followed up like a month later. And I didn't hear much back. And I really got a referral from, like, dude, what do you expect? Like, this doesn't happen after 2 touch points. That's not enough. Even in marketing, they say 7, 10, 15, 21, 85. I don't know what the number is anymore. It changes depending on the marketer you talk to. But at the end of the day, it's more than 2, right? And so we need to stop being greedy, right? We have to nurture these relationships over time. It's the only way to do it.
And that's everything nowadays is about shortcuts and fast track.
Hacks.
Yeah. This isn't something that you can hack, but the long-term payoff is so much better when you take your time with it and build the right connections and referrals. So what's the top of the pyramid if we're talking about Maslow and you? Okay, joy.
It's joy at the top. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, look, I have always believed that we should be able to walk down a hallway in an office park building, any place in the world, and literally high five someone. And I truly believe, and that's figurative because I know that there's people that won't high five and COVID. I get all that. But if all of that wasn't the case, and we went to a networking event today, I would encourage you, literally, lock eyes with someone across the room, walk toward them, and put your hand up like you're going to high five. Watch what happens. I guarantee you they give you a high five. But more so, I guarantee you they smile. Because it's bringing joy to people. It's fun. It's unique. And that's the idea that we need to have in our business. The type of people we bring ourselves around that are just fun. I mean, look, you don't invite stoic, boring people to your house for a cookout. The same thing goes for business.
Yep. Yep. I love that. So I will make sure to put in the show notes about your book. So you have your first book, but your second book just
launched on October 26th. That's high5effect.com. The hardcovers are on my website. You can get the paperback and the e-version on Amazon. The More Referral book has been on Amazon now for 3 years. That's also an in Kindle and in paperback. No hardcover in that. Hopefully in 2022, we'll have audiobooks out for both of them. That's exciting. I'm looking forward to doing that. And if people want to check out the group coaching program, they can check it out, buildyourreferralengine.com. It's $50 a month, 49 actually. It's just, it's, you know, I'm just all about surrounding myself with just awesome people. So like if you're not awesome, don't join my group, right? That's not just,
I always say it's not going to work. I know.
No, it's not going to work. You'll know right away if you fit in or not. Like if you're a listener and you laugh when Lisa tells jokes, you'll fit in. So that works. Like that's the type of people we want. And it's just about harmonious interaction amongst people to try and help them grow whatever it is they're trying to do and however it is they're trying to show up in this world. That's what I'm all about. You know?
Yeah, same with me. The word I've been vibing with lately is generosity. If you're not a generous human being, I don't want to be around you. Yeah, right. And that's when networking and connecting in groups and things really sing, is when everyone comes in with this joyful, generous spirit.
Yeah. 100%.
And that's, when you feel more connected to people, and that's when you can make decisions. If you're, a lot of times too, I think if people are teetering, should I fire this client? Should I keep running this program? Is this, do I want to sell my business? Do I even want to be in my business anymore? Right? We're not meant to make those decisions solo. That's why you get in groups and you hire mentors and have people, right?
Yeah. I got a call a month and a half ago, from a guy in the agency world that knew I sold my agency. And he called me and he said, it's time for me to sell. And I'm really curious how you structured it, how it worked. And that's what you're there for. It's the fun stuff,
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It's good. It's good, Lisa. Hey, let me wrap up with this point.
Drop it.
Every week I do a video on YouTube and people love them. And then I send them out in the email. And at the end of every video, I end it with the same thing every single time. I end every keynote speech this way, and every webinar I do, and even every podcast. Don't forget to live happy, smile a lot, and high five everyone around you.
Oh, I love that. Yes, yes, yes. Listeners. Oh my goodness. As Matt said, if you're driving, pull over, listen to this, Don't worry, come back to it if you need to. If you got a kid in one hand and the cell phone in the other, or whatever's going on now, right? In this crazy world where we multitask and do a million things, don't sell yourself short on this one, because that bit about your centers of influence, that exercise Matt gave, was so critical and crucial to your growth. Being able to be around people that bring you more joy and that you genuinely are excited every day about the life you're living and the business that you're running and the people that you're spending your time with, because we know time is our most precious currency. So I will make sure I have all of Matt's information in the show notes. Thank you, Matt, for being here with me today. Thank you, listeners, for being here. And we will catch you next time on The Lisa Pezik Show.
You've been listening to The Lisa Pezik Show. Let's connect more at www.lisapezik.com.